Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. Now, I want to discuss something about what I am hopeful in the future for the game. I just want to remain hopeful. I don't want to say that it's gonna be good, it's gonna be bad or anything like that. I just want to take a neutral stance as I normally try to do. Okay, so the thing is, for the Raging Lion, I have a couple of questions what some of you guys mentioned in the comments, okay? And I'm gonna talk about them in this video. So the first comment is, when was the last time you used an all-epic team or even a rare Esper? It's a really good question. I have not used an all-epic team for the longest period of time, and the reason for that is because we have the wish pool. Now with the wish pool, we can build a team like what I'm using right now, completely free to play. So if you're talking about an end game Chimera team, right, we are talking about players who have played the game for a decent amount of time, have decent equipment. At least you can manage this content. By playing the game for such a long period of time, you will then be able to afford both an Ahmed and an Alice minimally at R0, and they are still going to perform really well in this content. You don't need them to be higher resonances, that's not going to matter at all. Like my Alice, she's not R6, she is R5, I understand. But it doesn't really push her beyond whatever that she's currently good for, which is basically at R0. She's really good at R0 and that's about it. Ahmed, on the other hand, yes, his R2 does help your team by increasing their speed a little bit. But for the most part, I feel like him being at R0 is still going to be more than enough for the Raging Lion. That is that question answered. I will try to use more free-to-play comps, but the thing is, if you're talking about the Soaring Goat, for example, there is a strong need for certain strong Espers so that you can acquire 25 million score ASAP. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to achieve it eventually, which is why I say I'm hopeful that this game is going the right direction right now. So the second comment that I have is, I really doubt you could get above 25 million for Raging Lion without using Mateo right now. I think they shadow buff the Raging Lion. Okay, so they did shadow buff the Raging Lion. I'm not super sure what that shadow buff is, but what I realized is with Mateo, right? With Mateo, after the first round, I am not able to lock down the boss again. His dust state, basically. So I think they probably gave the boss more speed during their power boost phases. I am not super sure just yet, but I do know that he is indeed a little bit stronger. But the thing is, what I'm trying to show you in this video is that you do not need Mateo and you're still going to be able to perform. So even though Mateo was necessary in the previous phase, he was only really necessary because it was very difficult for you to get EX++ back then. But right now, it's extremely easy for you to get EX++ because you have already fully built your advanced strategies. And that is going to help you out a lot to ensure that you at least get your EX++, you at least get your 1500 Crow marks or whatever you call it, right? So it's all a matter of time investment before you can acquire the full rewards. But in terms of being competitive, with the leaderboards and by trying to collect all the rewards as fast as possible, then yes, you need to have a very strong account. But does that necessarily affect your overall gaming experience, unless you're trying to chase for leaderboards, that is? I would argue that it doesn't really affect you that much because in terms of rewards, we are still going to be able to acquire the rewards. Pretty much free to play as long as you have decent equipment, like I said. But I think for the most part, it's going to be quite manageable in the future if we complete our current advanced strategies, like our current Soaring Goat strategies. We would be able to get our EX++ equivalent for the Soaring Goat in the future when, let's say, the Sunken Viper comes around, right? Which is the third boss over here. So I'm a little bit hopeful that in the near future, they are going to ramp up the content and make it so much more clearable for most players. So right now I have 25 million and I completely clapped. But from the way it looks right now, I am pretty much sure that in terms of leaderboard content, they have decided to do away with the free-to-play possibility anymore. It's extremely it's not impossible. You need those Espers to work, basically, right? But in terms of generic normal players, you're probably not going to be able to compete because it's going to be extremely difficult for you to even acquire the huge score difference that, let's say, my team currently can do, and you'll probably not be able to achieve a similar score unless you have said super strong Espers as well. But moving into the future in 3.2.6, when we finally get the Sunken Viper and complete all 3 phases of the Chimera, what I really want to see from the development process is that they continue to make things similar to how it is right now, or at least try to improve on it a little bit. I think there is still a little bit of room for improvement, but from the spread of Espers that we're able to use right now in the Soaring Goat, I think that is a really great start. It's definitely opening more doors for more players to be more competitive or to acquire a bigger score at the start, and they won't feel a strong sense of FOMO, for example, basically feeling like they are missing out and not able to acquire all the rewards as soon as they should because everyone else is able to do so except for them. So this is just pure guesswork right now, but I think when the Sunken Viper comes around, we probably don't need all of these super strong espers in this lineup, for example. We may not need to have Shenpin. There are players who don't use Shenpin right now anyway, so we don't need to use Shenpin. We may not need to use Zora. We may not need to use Yuntron at all. We could use espers like Ashley, who is not free to play, but I would highly recommend that you get your Ashley right now. Or maybe even an R0 Zora might work out as well, just because of how she works in general right now. And on top of that, a bunch of other stuff, like there are other Judge Espers as well, who are also pretty good. Like you have Yuhime, you can use Jabit, you can even use Jiangman over here, to be honest. So I think the last comment that I want to talk about is this. After getting my first Yamato copy, I don't waste any time and effort on this event anymore. I'm already happy with my EX score. Now, congrats on getting a Yamato, but the thing is, it is going to be a lot easier for you to ramp up your score in the future. So even though it might seem extremely difficult right now, like it is extremely difficult even for me. But I am dead sure that when we get our advanced strategies up and running, this content is going to be so much easier. And you don't really need to grind it out so much. You just need to have some consistent lineups, which will help you get consistently good scores. So like for example, in my Raging Lion team right now, this is a very consistent and very safe 25 million. It's a bit unfortunate that we died a bit too early, but hey, the whole point is to get the maximum soft cap score that you should get, and then you are good to go afterwards. So the same goes for Soaring Goat, same goes for Sunken Viper as well. Anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Chimera event right now? Do you think that it's moving in the right direction, or do you think it's not moving in the right direction? And how else do you think they can improve from here on? Or just leave any comments if you have any whatsoever. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to give a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Derek Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.